When you crunch the numbers and you look at price to performance, I may have just discovered the best camp knife for the money in the BPS Savage. How you doing, gear lovers? Thanks for joining me today. I'm Aaron, this is Gideon's Tactical, and we are going to unpack today this Ukrainian-made full tang fixed blade with a leather sheath that comes in at about $40. That's what I paid for this over on Amazon a few months back. I was just cruising around, seeing what was out there, and I remembered that I had done a BPS blade years back, and that they have, I don't know, I know this isn't a new blade, but released this camp knife style, and I just immediately connected with the profile as well as the price of $40. And so today we're gonna see what the capabilities of this are, if there are any limitations, and really see if this does hold up to that $40 price point, to the level of performance that you and I would hope for out of a decent camp knife, or are there areas where it just totally falls on its face? Now, I've got the 2x4 of Doom behind me, where I have standardized some durability testing that we'll put this through in just a moment. But before we do that, let's just talk about the blade itself, what goes into it, and how have I seen it performing in just general tasks. Now, the blade length is 4.5 inches overall, which is just perfect for a lot of different tasks. It's a really good sweet spot. You're looking at a full flat grind, wide, broad blade, great little drop right there. The wild thing is that it is 0.11 on the stock thickness back here, and then tapers slowly to the tip. So this is slightly thinner than 1/8 of an inch thick, meaning that the geometry is just built for slicing and general utility. Just before we talk about steel and performance, all that, just the way it's designed, think of like a kitchen knife. In some ways it kind of is. It's like a souped up kitchen knife in how it's designed. So obviously I've done tons of like meat processing, chicken, and chopping all that up. Did great with that. Did lots of different just kitchen type cook tasks, and it's going to excel in that area. But it's also going to be good at just general utility, slicing through cardboard, man-made materials, bushcraft. I was really happy with just like feather sticking, doing like shaping of wood and those type of things. This is not going to be an ideal batoner. It'll split little stuff like maybe 2.5 to 3 inches in diameter, as long as it's not super dense. If it's really dense, pushing 4 inches in diameter, it's just not ideal for that. It's just not built for that. So if you really want and do a lot of batoning with this size of a knife, it will not excel in that area. Now, it is made out of 1066 steel, and that is a basic high carbon steel. They have Rockwelled this 57 to 59 is what they claim. To give you some perspective, 1095 in America from like K-Bar and say Essie, they usually do 56 to 58 is what they usually will do, sometimes even 55 to 57. So this is definitely on the higher end of the Rockwell scale for high carbons like this. The idea would be that that should bring up edge retention. The question is, will it handle durability? And that's what we're going to test out here momentarily. Now, the edge geometry was good when I got it. I have used it a ton throughout the last like 2 months since I bought it. And I would say the wear resistance is okay. I would say my Essies, as an example, do seem to hold their edge a little bit longer because it's such a basic high carbon. You can easily hone it like a couple passes on ceramic rod and it'll be like ridiculously sharp again. So, but you can see here when I was going through, the two things I saw after having used it and not resharpened it, and I always do factory edges unless I tell you otherwise, is I had some trouble near the end after having used it a ton in going through like seatbelt. I had to do several different, or not seatbelt, it's a toe strap, but like several passes to get through that. And then at the same time, I was doing some pineapple, and I had to really put some effort to get through the skin of the pineapple, showing that the edge retention is not like mind-blowing. It's okay, but nothing to write home about, and you will definitely want some form of a resharpening kit, honing edge, if you're gonna like use this all day, to get that really nice fine edge back on the blade through a full day of use. The back spine is really sharp, so you could easily throw sparks with this. That is an excellent feature, and it is an uncoated high carbon, so you're already seeing some staining on there, which I have no problem with. It looks great. I actually really like that and really dig that a lot. that staining. This would be a great knife to practice like mustard patinas or vinegar patinas on, just to help kind of fight against the humidity. And you just will, if you are in a high humid environment, want to keep this knife well oiled. But before we test the true durability of this knife and all the other capabilities or limitations therein, I want to take a moment to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, which is Zoleo and their satellite communication device. And with hunting season upon us, this gives you the ultimate adventure duo. With Zoleo's seamless global messaging via the Iridium satellite network, progressive SOS alerting with 24/7 monitoring and response, check-ins with an easy push of a button, as well as sharing your GPS location with any message sent. And guys, that's just scratching the surface of the capabilities that Zoleo offers you through this satellite communicator. So I'll have a link in the description below this video over to the Zoleo website. And don't forget about my exclusive promo code, which will waive the $40 activation fee. So I invite you to hop on over, check it out, and get yourself connected to first responders as well as loved ones every time you go out on your adventures. Now, base level performance of the blade, I'm really pleased with, and a little bit later on, we are gonna torture test this thing, but let's unpack a few other aspects before we take it to the limit, and it does have some limits. Ooh, man, look at that flex. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, no. And see what they are. They really did a good job overall with just the idea, the design, and ergonomics on this knife. We are looking at about 4.5 inches overall handle length, which fits my large size hands with tons of real estate out the back there. The maximum thickness, and just kind of holds that the whole way, there's no tapering, is 0.75. So that is good for that style of knife there. Out the back, we have this really nice rounded bird beak that allows you to kind of back up and get some decent wrist flicks in to do some either shaping of wood if you need to in a pinch, or like delimb something as thick as your pinky. You could easily do that and not even need a lanyard, even though it does have that exposed lanyard hole back there with that pommel that you could do like non-lethal strikes. Wouldn't be ideal for hammering tent pegs in or something like that on a camping trip, but you know, breaking something, cracking something open, or throwing sparks with your fire steel, it would do that because of the 90 angle there. And what I found was that all the angles are really well done. The shoulders are done well, and the symmetry right here, if it's off, it's ever so slight, it looks good to me just visually. And same back here, they've even, like, you know, it's not just like squared off, they've rounded that off and it looks good. I've had Condor fixed blades with worse symmetry and grinding on the scales, so that's pretty impressive. And then what I really like is that it has 2 bolts. Now, when I got it, they were tight, but when I started batoning, they started to shift a little bit. I just cranked them down. They haven't shifted since, so that's really good. But I like that these aren't pinned in. You know, I think of like the old Ontario hickory knives, which are in the same kind of price and kind of vibe. But those are pinned in, so you can't really do anything with the handle scales, and I actually got one of those to loosen up. This, again, you just would crank it down, or this would be, again, a great like hobbyist knife or modifying knife that you could take the scales off, do different types of treats to the oak handle scales, or try your hand at like G10 handle scales that you're gonna custom make, or micarta, and you're wanting to try that for yourself. This would be a very inexpensive knife to attempt to match the scales to and do that. So I really like that aspect. Now, the oak handles are not finished in the sense they're sanded, but they're kind of like medium sanded. If I really ran my finger in a couple areas, the fibers of the wood are actually like coming up a little bit right here. The only areas where I found a lip were really on the back spine here, just a hair. It didn't create any hot spots for me, but if you run your finger across, you know, you can feel it. So you could easily just get some sandpaper, just ever so slightly chamfer the edges right there, but they're not like all off. And again, like I've had Ontario knife, like rats in the past, that I've had worse lips than this. So again, pretty impressed. Now, this is an excellent leather sheath, super high quality. This could be sold alone, like this quality of a sheath, for 30, 40 bucks, no problem. I'd pay that all day long. Got the embossed BPS logo right there. Just the graining is excellent. Just so well done. Then on the back, good tension as well. It's not gonna fall out on you, but relatively easy to pull out and then to snugly put back into place. So unlike many knives that, you know, the knife is where all the focus is and the sheath is an afterthought, this sheath is in some ways almost better quality than the knife itself. That's how well designed it is. All right, now durability. I'm really curious to see what's gonna happen here. Now we're gonna be testing just durability overall, but also the edge. Is it gonna warp or have some sort of, rolling. Does it dull out really quick or not? I'm gonna go 1 inch down, that's where that little X is, and just pound away at this thing, and we'll see how it performs with that. Yeah, there we are. Okay. Let me feel. Yeah, zero blade wobble deformation. There we go. Okay. Yeah, there's a burr somewhere right up here, but that's not where we were pounding. So I can tell that it's not as hair popping sharp as when I opened it up out of the box, but that's to be expected with use, and doesn't have any sort of chipping or deforming of the blade. So it can keep going. If you just want to hone it, it just won't hold that like razor edge as long as higher quality steels. Okay, now for the 5-strike tip test. This is a very fine tip. I will be honest, I will be super surprised if this tip survives, but maybe the tempering is really good. I mean, I wouldn't normally be doing this with this level of a tip, but let's just find out. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh yeah. Oh no, no. Oh, it bent. There it is. Wah, wah. Just a little bit. Okay, so now I'm gonna be really curious to see with the side torque test what happens here. So what we've been doing with this and what I'm standardizing is 1 inch from the handle scale. We clamp this thing down, and I have a sandbag that weighs 45 pounds, and we're gonna hang it off for about 10 seconds to see what happens. This is a lot of weight for this thin a knife. Well, we gotta do it, right? Here we go. Go. Ooh, man, look at that flex. Yikes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. What do you think? Did it bend? I mean, it didn't snap. It did. Whamp, whamp. Okay. You can see, not terrible, but it did not go springing completely back into place. Well, there it is. It won't break, but it will bend. And I gotta know, throw comments down. Is that a non-starter for you? Or now having seen what the capabilities and limitations are you like, sweet, now I just know not to go insane with this thing and I'll totally use it on a regular basis. For me personally, is it like the best price to value? If you're looking for a light duty camp knife, totally, as long as you're taking a hatchet and a saw, and you're probably not gonna be doing anything more than, let's say, inch and a half in diameter, because super thick logs with lots of knots potentially may cause some flexing to the point of no return with this. And as long as you're not gonna use it as a pry bar, you could definitely use this tip for a lot of precise, fine woodworking. Is it a compact survival knife? Absolutely not. Is it a good option in this price range for a light duty camp knife? Totally. That's my take. I look forward to hearing from you guys what your perspective is. Thanks for joining me today. I invite you to check out the other video popping up, to subscribe if you haven't. And until next time, always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, and I'll see you out there.